Morning, day 56. Still winter, but look at all that steam on the coffee. That's wonderful. So when I first started this channel, I had the thought in mind to document some of my life for my children and grandchildren. And it has really turned into a huge learning experience for me. I'm learning so much about myself. I never expected that to happen, but it's happening. It makes me look at my life, what needs to be improved, what's working. It helps me focus on gratitude and on all the blessings I have. So, and I want to thank my viewers for coming along on this journey with me and also being a part of it and helping us all along the way with great ideas and wonderful suggestions. And you're all so kind, and I love you all. Lots of snow and gnome hats. But it's warming up the next couple days, so some of this will melt, but then we'll get more. So today it's just me and the puppers again. Right? Somebody was a bad boy. Oh well, accidents happen. Alright, I have a couple tomatoes here that were starting to go bad, so I cut half of them off. And I'm just making a little tiny jar of bruschetta. And I also have a green onion that didn't have any roots, so it was starting to look funky, so I'm going to put that in. Usually you put like a sweet onion or something in there, but I'm going to use up this green onion because it's what I have. I do have other onions, but I don't want to cut open a big onion right now. And this one needs to be used up. And also in my refrigerator, I've had this balsamic glaze forever, so I'm going to use that. I want to use this up. It's good, but it's kind of stuck in the back of the fridge and I forget I have it. So I'm going to use that up. I'm going to use some olive oil and some dried basil. If you have fresh, even better. But that's what I'm using today. And I'll probably just keep this for a snack. I've got some of my bread left that's starting to get a little dry, and I'll just make like dried toast and eat it on that. I love bruschetta. It's really tasty. So in that goes, and you know, so use your bits and bobbles and things and make something tasty out of it. So there's that, and some basil. Okay, that's good. And some of this. Now normally you just use balsamic vinegar, but this is what I have, and I think it'll be nice on there. This would be great on chicken, and if you eat chicken, I have some chicken seitan that I took out of the freezer that I may use that on. And a little bit of olive oil, not too much. And then I'm just going to shake this up and let it sit and marinate. Last time I had bruschetta, we were out somewhere at a boat show, and it was so good that I thought I'd try and recreate it. So there we go. Instant bruschetta if you have tomatoes that are going bad and you don't know what to do with them. And you have some onions, make some bruschetta. Hey, back in my favorite spot again, in the kitchen. So I have here my little tiny slow cooker again, but first coffee. Cheers. I hope everybody's doing well on this wonderful day. So I have here some coconut oil. I think I got this at Aldi's. But first thing I'm going to do is melt a little bit of that. And for this particular stew, it doesn't matter if it's coconutty flavored. I don't find coconut oil flavor offensive. And the reason I'm adding this is because, again, I'm not using real beef, so there is no fat in this. But you can leave this out if you want. But what I've been finding that I like to do lately is put my spices in the slow cooker and let them warm up before I add my other ingredients. So today I'm going to be using, let me get the right teaspoon here. And I don't want to make a big batch. I want a small batch, just 1 or 2 servings, because I don't want a ton of leftovers. Although I do love to cook with leftovers and make something different. So out of my freezer I pulled these peas out that I want to use up. But my main priority the first couple of weeks of the month, since I only shop once a month, my first priority is to use up my produce. So that's what I'm doing here. I always cut my head off. It's like you either look at me or you look at the board, but I think this will work. Alright, so anyway, my spices today are going to be, I don't have any celery, so I'm going to use dried celery that I made myself. And I'm going to put, this is a half of a teaspoon, but I want to make it like a heaping half of a teaspoon. So I'm going to put that in. I'm going to put in some turmeric because I like the color it gives. Not only that, it's healthy. It's very healthy for you. So I'm going to put in about, a half a teaspoon of turmeric, not too much. Turmeric to me has a little bit of a bitter taste if you use too much, but I do like it. Now I have some ground cumin. I like cumin. I put cumin in a lot of things, not just my Mexican dishes. I just like the flavor of it. But you can leave it out. It's optional. So I put some cumin in there. And I have some of this umami mushroom seasoning from Trader Joe's. Now this is pretty salty, so I don't want to put too much. It smells really good. So I'm going to use just a half a teaspoon of that. And it has, let's see, of course, salt is the first ingredient, dried onions, ground mushroom seed, mustard seed, sorry. Let's see, mushroom powder, white button mushroom powder, black pepper, and dried thyme. So it's very tasty. So I'm going to use that. Then I'm going to use, of course, my very favorite seasonings, onion and mushroom powder. And about a half a teaspoon of each of those. And I usually don't measure, but for the sake of the recipe, I will. And this is garlic. Another half a teaspoon. There we go. All right, what am I missing? Now I'm going to use this Better Than Bouillon no beef base. Boy, this stuff has gotten expensive. Holy moly. But it is tasty. But I'm sure there's cheaper things out there. I got these, I think, online. But even if you buy them in the store, it's very expensive. But it is very concentrated too. So sometimes you just gotta pay a little more, I guess. Oh, another thing I want to put in, because mushrooms have a very umami taste, which is what meat is, I'm going to put in a good tablespoon of my homemade mushroom powder. So a good tablespoon of that. I put a lot of seasonings in my food because I like a very flavorful food. All right, so let me see. I want to let those roast in there for a little bit. So I'll be back in a little while after the oil melts and these become. I'm going to add some of this no salt garlic and herb seasoning. And I'm going to put about a teaspoon of that. Now my herbs in there are all nice and warm with the coconut oil. And it doesn't matter that I'm adding this later, but it'll get incorporated. And then I'm going to add some fresh black pepper. And I'm going to put a good hefty dose of that in. Put as much as you like. Now I'm going to add some tomato paste. And I like these tubes of tomato paste because you don't have to open a whole can. And I'm going to add about a tablespoon of tomato paste. That's always good with beef. Beefish. Whatever you eat. Alright, so I'm going to put that in. And in here I have about a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. Boy, that's always a mouthful. And then some of this Wildman's gravy coloring. Got that in the Amish country. I don't know if I'd get that again. It's got a little bit of a sweet taste to it. It's okay, but I want to use it up. Alright, and then I'm going to use some of this Better Than Bouillon beef flavor. And I'm going to put about a tablespoon of that in because I'm going to add water to fill this up. So about a tablespoon should do it. Alright. And now I'm going to add some of this Pinot Noir. Somebody brought that over at one point and didn't finish it. I am not a big fan of dry wine, so I use it to cook. So I'm going to put a good dose of that in. And the alcohol will evaporate from that. I'm sure you all know that. But you can leave that out if you don't want it in there. That's fine. It'll still be good. Alright, so I'm going to add this now to everything I have here in my slow cooker. Try and get everything off that spoon. And I'll show you what's in there. You can see that. There we go. everything's nice in there, nice and warm. Okay. So I'm going to stir that up and add my liquid. Now this is almost like a paste in there. And if you make seitan, you can do something similar by making a paste and adding it to your seitan. But whatever you do, I'm sure it's wonderful. Alright, so I'm going to add my wine mixture now. Let that all get, all these party spices in here, they're going to have a wedding. They're all going to, all these flavors are going to marry. So, and then I'm going to add water to this because this is going to be awfully salty if I just leave it like this. So, how many of you out there are cooks? By cooks I mean you like to cook. Or maybe you don't like to cook, but you cook anyway. I know some people hate to cook and they just go out and buy everything. But that gets to be expensive. So, you know, I don't know, think about trying to cook a couple things. Yep, it definitely needs water, but I'm going to add my other ingredients first. So I have here some greens. I'm still using my greens that I bought for $1. This is a different package, and it still looks good. But like I said, I want to use up my produce first before I go to my freezer things. And these will cook way down. You won't even notice that they're in there. But I like to chop them up. I just don't like big chunks. I said that the other day when I made my soup. Alright, so now I'm going to add a handful of carrots, and these are just baby carrots that I just cut into chunks. And I like chunks in my stew. I don't like it too fine. This is a red onion, a small one. I'm going to put that in there. And then these are the butter russets that I've never had before, but they are yellowish. I've never had them. So I have to make a baked potato and see if it's good. So alright, this is filling up my slow cooker. So I just want to get everything very well incorporated. I want to get my peas in there. They're still frozen, but that's okay. They'll thaw. So in go the peas. And I always overfill my cooker. So anyway, that's enough peas. And then I dug out of my freezer some more of these soy curls. Now some people rehydrate them before they use them. I don't see a point to that. So in whatever I'm making a soup or a stew, I just stick them in and they beautifully absorb all the flavor. And if you haven't tried these before and you're vegetarian, give them a try. Or even if you're not vegetarian, you might like them. And it's a cheaper form of protein. I know these have gone up in price too, because like what hasn't? But, you know, you work with what you got. So alright, I'm going to mix this up and fill it up with water, however much it takes. Now I'm going to cook this on high. It's 11 o'clock in the morning, and this should be done, because it's just veggies, this should be done like by 2-ish, I would think. Alright, I'll be back later. Breakfast, brunch, whatever you want to call it. Day 56. Alright, well, I've got some leftovers in here, and I Whoops. I still have some French toast. So I think I'm going to just have some French toast for brunch today. And yep, I'm going to call that good. And look, no more vanilla creamer. All right, brunch, okay. Day 56. Brunch, day 56. Leftover French toast. And dinner is cooking, day 56, in my little slow cooker that keeps me from cooking too much food. So today is also Tea Tuesday, so cheers. Chamomile tea with just sweetener, pretty basic. And I always stock up on that from the Dollar Tree. You can't beat the price, and it's good tea. So anyway, I just had the leftovers for breakfast because I don't want to get too many leftovers in my refrigerator. So I want to eat those down. And now I'm finally starting to get some things out of the freezer. It's a slow process, that's for sure. But I'm glad that's getting cooked down. And I'm getting a handle on that. And I did go ahead and order those 2 recliner chairs from Amazon. I was really on the fence about ordering those because I am on a low spend. But the money that I've saved over the last 6 weeks will pay for the chairs, so that's a good thing. And they were getting low on stock, and sometimes they get more and sometimes they don't. So I really, really want to get rid of that couch. It's just, I've been trying to nurse it along for the last couple years, and it just isn't working, so that needs to go. I mean, I'm a very visual person, and if things don't go together, or if things are not looking good, I'm not very happy. So I just went ahead and ordered them, and hopefully I like them because they are cheap, and I don't have too many expectations, but sometimes you get a nice surprise. So anyway, I'm done with my cooking. I'm going to eat my stew for dinner, and then I'm sure I'll have a portion left over. I still have a few leftovers from yesterday that I'll eat tomorrow. And I do want to try and make a baked potato out of those butter russets, because usually russet potatoes, they're more like a white potato, but these have the real buttery look, just like the white butter potatoes. So I'm going to go ahead and eat those up, because now I have more potatoes, and some of them are actually getting little eyes. So I'm wondering if I can't maybe keep a few or a couple of them, just a couple, to maybe plant out in the garden. Now I don't know if this is a hybrid potato. I really don't know anything about it. But hey, nothing ventured, nothing gained, right? So I'm going to try that, and I'll probably start them in the house first. And I was watching a video, I don't remember now who did the video. It was a YouTube gardener who was starting his seeds in a little greenhouse, a little tiny one, not one of these big ones. And he had a 5-gallon bucket of water in there with an aquarium heater. Now, it was probably a good wattage aquarium heater. And he put that in there, and it was like 50 degrees in his little tiny greenhouse. So I was thinking, you know, I do have one outside, and I thought, well, maybe I'll give that a try and do a little bit of winter sowing. But we'll see. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Grand plans. So, but anyway, I want to wish you a happy Tea Tuesday, and I also want to wish you abundant blessings. I love you guys. Be good to yourself. Be good to others. God bless you, and I'll see you next time. I can't turn it off with one hand. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, comment, and like. Thanks for watching.